Namaste. Hello. It's lovely to see you. I'm doing a bit of sculpting with my clay and I thought you might like to join me. I don't know if this angle's very good, but we'll see how we go. So basically I'm going to be making one of these. This is finished. This is one of my baby owls. And I've just sculpted this guy who's wet, so he's freshly made. Hi Emma. So he's a baby owl ready to go. So you can kind of see how much they shrink. Although this guy's probably a bit thick because he was one of my first ones. So I've managed to be able to get the clay a little bit thinner these days. Hi Raven. So I'm going to sculpt one of these now with you. So what I've got is, I weighed out some of this white raku clay and I've got 350 grams and basically just formed it into a ball, and now I'm pinching and getting the shape of my owl. So this is traditional clay, so this is clay that I have to fire in my kiln, and this is quite groggy clay, so it's got little flecks, I don't know if you can see it, little flecks of ground up other ceramics that's already been fired. So it's great clay for sculpting. So I'm basically just pinching and thinning out this wall to get my owl shape. So I'll probably be doing this for 20 minutes or so if you want to hang around. Hello. Lovely to see you. So I'm just, I've got about eight balls of clay that I've weighed up to make some of these baby owls, and then I can get my kiln going. So I'll try and keep an eye on the picture here, make sure that you can kind of see what I'm doing. Depends which hands I'm using. So I'm basically just thinning the wall out by pinching at the clay. And I have to kind of hold the clay quite gently, otherwise it will collapse on itself. And I want to make sure all of this wall of this pinch pot is about the same thickness. So you just kind of patiently just pinch at it. So that's my first little bit of shape for the owl, but I do want to just pinch this base in a bit so it's not so open at the bottom. So I want to keep it a little bit thick, I guess, on the very edge. I don't want it to thin out and crack. So that's just my basic owl shape. I'll get these guys away. So that's my basic owl shape that I'm beginning with. And I'm going to just stuff it up with newspaper just to help it keep its form. So I've got little broken pieces of newspaper in here that I just pop in. So because I'll be making some eyes and things on this bowl, I guess it's just a pot, then it helps to pad all the inside with newspaper that I can take out later. And now I'm going to beat it with my paddle. So this is just a paddle, and I'm just going to lightly tap it so it's so it gets more into a shape that I want. So I'm just basically just going to work my way around it with this paddle. And the owls tend to take, well, not just the owls, but anything I make really, I notice that just tends to take a form of its own. So I don't have to really worry too much about the shape or worrying about this is going to be the front or the back at this stage, because I will just finish my paddling and then I'll be able to look at the shape and figure out where the face is going to be and what the face is going to do. And kind of just let the owl emerge, I guess, from the clay itself. So the paddling just smooths up the clay a bit. and gets it into a shape. So we've got this shape to start with. I might move this a bit closer and in the light. Okay, so I guess we're going to be on the side a bit because the face is going to be over facing me, and I think this is a good place to make the face. So I've got a little bucket here of water. I've just got a little bit of water on my thumbs, and I'm just going to push in where I want the eyes, and then just see if that still works for me. So I've just got a little idea of where the eyes are going to be. So I know the eyes are sunk in, and I'm going to add like an eyeball, I guess, and I'm going to bring out the beak and things. So you have to push and pull quite a lot, so it's always good to make sure that the shape is going to stay okay. And I'll just push on these quite a bit more. So this gives me a bit of an idea where I want to put my eyeballs for the owl. So I've got a little bit of clay that I pulled out from this guy before. I'm just going to make a bit of a neckline. Okay, so I'm going to grab his spare clay and make some little eyeballs. So if you just joined in, welcome and hello. This is sort of what I'm making, something like this, which is one I just made, a little baby owl. He's hollow inside. So at the moment I've got my impressions where I want the face to be, just to give me an idea, make sure that feels right to me. And I'm just about to roll up some balls that are going to turn into these eyeballs. So I'll put him over here somewhere. So I don't need much. My experience in making quite a lot of these over these past few months tells me that I actually don't need a lot of clay for the eyeballs. Sometimes I can get a bit carried away, and he has very bulging eyes. So I get a little piece of clay that I think, and then I halve it, and then I can kind of feel, just by putting one ball in each hand, I can kind of feel if they're around the same size, and then just take a little bit of clay away. It's not a big deal if one's a lot bigger than the other, because I can push it back into the head. So I'll just wet in here a little bit. That will just help this separate piece of clay stick, although this clay is very soft, so it's probably not really necessary, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I just sit the little eyeballs in here, make sure they're about right, and use my little tool to push . So I'm pushing the edges in, but I'm keeping the centre high. And I'll come around and fix that a little bit in a minute. That's a general idea for the eye. So basically I'm just pushing the edges in. Now I'm just going to add a bit of like, I don't know what you call them actually, the disc I think it's actually called, the disc around the eyes. I'm going to add a bit of clay here, so I'm just wetting the clay ready to accept that. And I know too that I'm going to add a bit of clay here on his beak and that bridge part of the nose. So I'll just wet that with a bit of warm water. Well, it doesn't have to be warm, but it's warm for me. And I've got my leftover clay, so I'm just going to grab a bit for his nose. In fact, I'll do that bit first. Or his beak, I should say. It doesn't really have to go in like a beak, because I can shape it to be. Basically, all I need is extra clay in here, which is why I'm adding that. I'm just rolling a coil or a sausage. Technically it's called a coil. I'm just flattening it a little bit, and I'm going to just add a little bit more water. And just push it on. Now I'm just going to compress the clay. Have you played with clay before, perhaps at school? Have you taken a class, pottery class? I took a pottery class for a year in 2014, I'm pretty sure. And then, must have been the end of 2015, I felt it was time that I branched out and get myself a kiln and start doing what I want to do with ceramics from home. But I always loved ceramics at school. I always made a vow that when I retired I was going to take up pottery. And then in 2014, when a class came up, I thought, I'm not waiting till I retire, I'm going to do it now. So I did. I loved it. Ceramics and working with clay is so fun. There are no limitations, and it's so fun to play with. You know, like you can draw a nice picture, but you don't really get to touch it and play with it. You can look at it, which is pretty, but there's just something so nice about being able to touch the clay piece that you've made out of just a lump of clay. So if you've been thinking about doing some ceramics, I highly recommend it. It's great fun. Okay, so we've got these disc sort of things in now. And I'm going to add the little, I don't know what you call it, but they have like a split in here. These masked owls do anyway. Because I'm making these really for, and to raise money for the Raptor Centre, which is a local, this local guy has made this amazing centre where he rescues raptors from Tasmania, and he's got a little masked owl that was bred in captivity. male and female couldn't be released into the wild, and they ended up having this little owl, and it ended up being like the mascot for the raptor centre. So Craig asked me to make some owls, so that's what I've been doing for him and to help raise money for the work that he does, which is something I'm really passionate about. He really looks after the eagles and things. It's quite incredible. Amazing. So this is a little masked owl, a baby, which we have in Tasmania. I'm just adding some little bits of texture here to look like feathers. So when it's glazed, it will pick up like this little glazed guy. I don't know if you can see very well, but the texture that I make through here grabs darker with the glaze, so it makes it look more like feathers, I guess, in these textured areas. So I found the textures really important, plus I love textured things. So why not add texture? Plus they're ours after all. We can make them all look as fluffy as possible with clay. So I'll just add a bit of texture to the rest of his body. So these guys will take probably, it's going to be pretty hot these next couple of days, so they might take 2 or 3 days to air dry. They've got to be completely air dried before I put them in the kiln. I glaze them and put them in the kiln. And then they'll be in the kiln for about 24 hours. About 12 hours of that will be with the kiln on. So it will get up to 1110 degrees is my favourite temperature at the minute, Celsius. And then they'll be ready to, well, hopefully have all been successful. Successful firing. And I don't really want to have to touch this much again, so I want to really make sure that there aren't any daggy bits hanging off, and that I won't need to come back in and, you know, go over anything. Like with cups, when you're making cups and things, you've got to go back in and make sure the lip where people are going to be drinking from is really smooth and things like that. But I just want to make sure I've done everything that I can now, so I can just let it dry. So I'm quite happy with him. That's our little baby owl next to his little brother, I guess, or sister. They're so cute. I have so much fun sculpting, I just love it. So that's our little owl. It's got a big chest, this one. We might enhance that with a bit of texture in here. So that's that. Thanks for watching. I trust you've enjoyed watching me do a little bit of creating this afternoon or this evening. And maybe you're inspired to do some creating yourself, whether it's with clay, if you're lucky enough to have access to it, or some paper or paints or something else. It's good fun. So have fun. Get out there and do some creating if you want to. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up button. Please show us some love. Please comment or share if you're inspired to, and just message us privately if you want to connect more privately. These guys will hopefully, if I can get them all made, they will finish my kiln load, which means I should have a kiln firing next week. So by the end of next week, hopefully they'll be ready if you want to see them finished. So thank you, have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you and chat with you again soon. Namaste. And if you want to learn more about my work, just visit templeofbalance.com.au. Thanks. I'll have to reach across to hit the finish button. Oh, the cat's coming up to play. Are you coming all the way? She might. Come on. She'll probably wait till I've finished. Anyway, see you later. Bye.